This week in Jamaica Now.
I'm not gonna eat it and they could come kill me. Also, send me a yard.
Quarantined food fiasco. Jamaicans detail horror at Bahia Principe Hotel. The Prime Minister says sorry.
The issues encountered are completely unacceptable.
And a day earlier, the media were barred from the airport as stranded Jamaicans arrived. Big budget cuts amid COVID crunch in Jamaica. Prime Minister announces plans to reopen the economy, and tourism is high on the agenda. Guilty, 3 former Manchester Parish Council officers and 2 co-accused convicted in a $400 million fraud scheme. And Manchester mother arrested allegedly for facilitating the sexual abuse of her 11-year-old daughter.
This is my family. 5 generations of women, all the way from me, the wise great-great-grandmother, right down to our precious new addition. There's a common thread between us. We're financially secure and we all use credit unions.
For every generation, for every phase of life, the credit union way is the complete way to save, borrow, and invest.
I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. The government this week rushed to quell complaints about poor food and intolerable services at the Bahia Principe Hotel, now being used as a government COVID quarantine facility. This week, persons at the hotel took to the media saying the conditions were worse than prison.
You see them people here treat with less than human.
No. Slave prisoners, like say, will commit some form of crime and they forgot that we were at work when we got this virus.
Well, right now I have to be sleeping on my balcony because in my room smell like bleach and chemical. You see me? Me can't barely even breathe. Me nah, man, nobody poison me, so the water we have to go drink that. Lettuce, so we're supposed to green and brown. We are not humans, we are lab rats. This is not a hotel, this is a lab. This is a big 5-story lab.
I'll tell the man, say I cannot eat that food. My stomach is sick. I'm going to throw up. I can't eat that. The man going to look at me and tell me, say him can't do nothing about it. So I'm going to put back all the food out there. I'm not going to eat it. And they could come kill me. Also, send me a yard. I don't want there no more. If the people are planning to kill me off over here, boy, I got me yard.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton and State Minister for National Security Matthew Semuda rushed to the facility on Wednesday, seeking to halt the nightmare. According to Dr. Tufton, the situation will now improve.
It was important to come and see and to listen. Over 200 persons came in yesterday, and there were some issues with processing, some logistics hiccups, and that has contributed to some of this disaffection. But I think we're working on it and we will overcome.
A day later, the Health Ministry released a video showing people engaging in workout sessions at the hotel. Meanwhile, 3 more flights with returning Jamaicans arrived at Kingston's Norman Manley International Airport this week. But the media were blocked from covering the arrival. An airport official told reporters to leave, saying only the state-owned Jamaica Information Service, JIS, would be allowed to provide coverage. A policeman would insist that the media representatives leave the precincts of the arrival area. The opposition has raised alarm over the blocking of the journalists, and the leadership of the Press Association of Jamaica has met with government officials over the incident. More than 200 Jamaicans returned on Wednesday on flights from Fort Lauderdale, New York, and Canada under the government's controlled re-entry program. A week earlier, more than 100 others from the United Kingdom arrived at the airport and complained about being hungry, being denied bathroom use, and having to wait for hours at the airport before being transported to their St. Anne hotel for quarantine. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark has announced significant cuts in the budget amid a steep decline in revenues because of the coronavirus in Jamaica. In tabling his first supplementary estimates in the Parliament on Wednesday, Clark said programmed expenses have been cut from $853.46 billion to $838.15 billion. The capital budget, which is for new projects like the construction of roads, bridges, and schools, is being slashed by 38% from $76.2 billion to $46.1 billion. Dr. Clark also said, so far, COVID-19 has cost $120 billion through devaluation of the currency, $81 billion in lost taxes, and $23 billion in contingency for COVID relief. The opposition has cautioned that the government may have to review the new budget to better cushion the vulnerable. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has reiterated that the government will be seeking to reopen the economy. At a press conference this week, the government announced that bars will be reopened under new guidelines. Churches will also be allowed to hold services, and there will be new curfew hours. Speaking with Richard Quest on CNN, the Prime Minister also confirmed that protocols were being developed for the reopening of tourism. Under these new protocols, tourists coming to Jamaica will need COVID-free passports, which will be a medical certificate that should be no older than 76 hours.
I keep telling the Jamaican people that I have two priorities. Priority number one is their health and safety, and priority number one is their livelihoods. So I don't see a trade-off between health and economy. I don't see the two things as mutually exclusive. You need healthy people to make the economy work, and a working economy gives you healthy people.
3 former officials of the Manchester Municipal Corporation and 2 of their co-accused have been convicted for their roles in a fraud scheme that fleeced the local government authority approximately $400 million. The corporation was previously called the Manchester Parish Council. The verdicts were handed down in the Manchester Parish Court by Senior Parish Judge Anne-Marie Granger in a hearing that lasted 4 hours and 15 minutes. 2 of the co-accused, bank teller Ratcliffe McLean and Myrtle Elliott, the mother of mastermind Sanjay Elliott, were found not guilty. Sanjay Elliott and his 4 co-accused will remain on bail until sentencing on July 27. A Manchester mother accused of facilitating the sexual abuse of her 11-year-old daughter has been arrested and charged by the police. A date has not yet been decided for the woman to appear in court on the charge of failing to report her child in need of care and protection. On conviction, the woman could be fined up to $500,000 or sent to prison for up to 6 months. The police say on several occasions the child's stepbrother had sexual intercourse with her as well as other sexual activities. The police say the child told her mother, but she did not report it to the authorities. The Major Investigations Division is leading a high-level probe after 5 bodies were exhumed from 2 shallow graves in a section of the Washington Gardens community called Danger Island. The police say the graves were made on the banks of the Sandy Gully in the vicinity of Weymouth Drive. The operation, which began on Monday, was triggered by a missing person investigation. The bodies were wrapped in plastic and were decomposing. Assistant Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey says the police are awaiting the outcome of post-mortems to further guide their probe. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like our page on YouTube and subscribe today. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, rush on Western Union as Jamaicans seek to collect money under the government's CARE program.
Start stepping back! Start stepping back! I don't want to go to one side. Start stepping back! Hello! Start stepping back!
Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth, Western Union. Andrew, this need justice. Andrew, where do I market this line going? I Western Union line this, $10,000 line. This need TVJ.